Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for Ignatian Solidarity Network for having me. My name is Mayra Martinez. That's kind of a mouthful, but that is my complete name. That's on my birth certificate. I'm here on behalf of the Ignatian Solidarity Network. I am a junior student from Loyola University Chicago, where it's 75% winter throughout the year. So last night we just had our hopefully last snowfall. I got here last night, it was humid, I felt like it was summer. But back to Chicago I go. I'm currently a junior majoring in Spanish with a minor in Latin American and Latino Studies. And I work in undocumented student initiatives, particularly in an office. It's called the Department of Student Diversity and Multicultural Affairs. And so I work on Share the Dream Ally trainings, where they're 3-hour trainings to educate folks on campus, staff, faculty, and students to learn more about the undocumented student experience, mostly at the higher education level. I also help facilitate a close support group for undocumented students called Undocumented Proud, and that's just a closed space where we can convene and talk about the issues that are really impacting us and our families today. And so my interest in supporting the undocumented student community really sparked my knowledge of being undocumented myself. Like most other students, I found out about my status right before graduating elementary school, so about 7th to 8th grade. And that was during the time of applying for high school. It was a bit difficult to understand why my parents were fearful of me going on to high school, with the high school of my choice asked for my social security number. All I could think about was how new high school would be. Would it be like the movies? What about college? What would that be like? But college really wasn't the problem. My parents had already introduced an idea to me of what my college experience might be. Paying for my schooling wouldn't be an issue because my parents would be paying in US dollars. They were actually looking at an option for me to go to college in Mexico because college here just looked like a long shot for me to be able to attain. And then being a junior, because I wanted to stay in the States, this is where I grew up, this is what I knew, I wanted to stay here. I did not want to go to Mexico to have my college education. So then being a junior in high school, my counselor started informing me of my college application process, something very new to me, mainly for being a first-generation student. I had a great deal of questions, but not many answers. Luckily, I had a group of counselors who stood by me the majority of the way. A group of 4 undocumented classmates gathered weekly to discuss where we were emotionally, what our fears were, and what our goals were as undocumented students. We put in hours during our senior year to create a scholarship for ourselves through selling light snacks at our school store. We also organized a panel during our English classes to bring light to our stigmatized status. At the end of the year, we saw how much our hard work paid off, and were fortunate enough to pass the reins to the next class to support themselves and educate future generations. From there, I made it to Loyola University Chicago, and I continue to work on these initiatives so that others don't have to struggle as much to make their college experience as smooth as possible. Now the question is, what's my story? My story, like everyone else's, is unique. I first arrived in the United States at 5 months, along with my mother, and my father, who had already visited this side of the border prior to bringing us over. Because of our way of entry, we were able to visit Mexico once more for my 5th birthday, but that's where all of my memories of Mexico stayed. I am constantly reminded of the struggles my parents faced, their first ones here. Arriving with nothing but clothes and personal trinkets, donated items from those that knew that we had just arrived. Furniture from the thrift store because it was all they could afford, and sleeping on the floor for the first few weeks until they could save enough money for a mattress. Getting from point A to point B wasn't easy without a vehicle, and depending on others for rides, left my parents stranded and waiting long hours for someone who wouldn't pick them up. Having a newborn didn't make that any easier. Both of my parents had to work, so I was left with a babysitter. For 10 years of my life, I grew up with my babysitter and her family. She picked me up from school, cooked for me, and cared for me while my parents worked hard and went to school to obtain their GED. Although they missed out on my childhood, they set the example of making ends meet however necessary. Like many immigrant families, now more than ever, determination and hope is what keeps us going. We take up any job offer we can, as long as we can bring food to the table. We strive forward with everything that we have in hopes that one day we don't have to deal with injustices that we face as immigrants. Our hands may be cut up, our feet tired of standing, our eyes asking for a good night's rest, but we keep going. And we must keep going. We cannot rest until our families are no longer separated, until our children no longer fear having to come home and not finding their parents, until the eldest siblings no longer had to worry about being the parental figure for their younger siblings, until we obtain an immigration reform that is just for everybody, regardless of where we come from. Why is it that people had to be mentally and emotionally exhausted when it comes to living with this stigmatized status? Why must immigrants be detained for months on end until they are able to present their case in front of a judge? Why are immigrants seen as a prophet and as mad animals when all we want is a chance at better life? For the 1.3 million DACA recipients, like me, who have benefited greatly from this program, our DACA students are already on their way towards being a part of society, whether they're buying houses, obtaining jobs, or going to medical school. Why push them back now after all they have accomplished? I shouldn't have to quit my job that helps me pay my bills and therefore causes less financial stress on my mother. My parents should not have to keep working long hours at their factory jobs in order to pay for my college education that has cost them thousands of dollars, all out of pocket because I do not qualify for federal financial aid or loans. I shouldn't have to worry about doing something so ordinary such as driving if my license were to be taken away. I should be able to travel to expand my knowledge and share my experiences with my community. I should be able to get the chance to be normal for once. For the 2.3 million mixed status families that deserve to be together, for the 11.4 million undocumented immigrants that are determined to make a life in this country, we must make ends meet. Our mixed status families who need resources and reforms that will allow them to remain together as a family. Our undocumented immigrants who, regardless of where they come from or what they do, risk everything to come to this country for a similar purpose, to survive. Why fear us when we are here to work just as hard as the next person? So what do we ask of you? We ask you to work with us to develop humane and compassionate immigration policies that will keep our families together and ensure that all members of our communities feel safe. I want to know that there will be some pathway to citizenship for myself, for my family, and for those who for many years have contributed to this country. We also ask that you think about the cost of fully funding the President's recent executive orders, that you instead allocate resources to these programs and services that build our communities up, that you ensure oversight of ICE and Border Patrol and its practices. And lastly, that you support legislation that will ultimately keep our families together. Support the Bridge Act is a start, but making the ultimate goal a comprehensive immigration reform. While the Bridge Act provides only a partial and temporary solution, it is a step toward protecting and inviting greater participation from immigrants like me, who came as children and call this country home. Please consider actively supporting this bill with bipartisan support by becoming a co-sponsor if you not have done so already. And lastly, we must remember always that we are not just numbers. Our stories cannot be quantified. Our experiences are real and we are human beings. Much like Pope Francis mentioned while being here, we must not be taken aback by their numbers, but rather view them as persons, seeing their faces and listening to their stories, trying to respond as best as we can to their situation, to respond in a way which is always humane, just, and fraternal. Thank you.